Hi, fantasy book lovers, TGIF. This is Thank Gods It's Fantasy Podcast. We are Kayla, Veronica, and Bryanna, three best friends who love talking about all things books, from the romance, the conflict, and of course, morally gray men. Every 2 weeks, we will be getting together to talk about our theories, opinions, and reviews of our current read. Please read along, join in, and be one of our book besties too. Welcome to our show. Thanks for joining us. In this episode, we'll be talking about One Dark Window, written by Rachel Gillig. This is the first book of the Shepherd King duology. But before we start, we'd like to make our usual disclaimer that many of the things we discuss might be more suitable for mature audiences. We are all adults here, so if explicit language or content is not for you, then turn back while you still can. Okay, so let's just start in the beginning. The story is basically based in a place called Blunder. And there's magic here. There's natural magic, and then there's magic that's put into cards. And what happens, I think, like the beginning part of it is that there is this mist that was created by their deity, I think is what I want to call it. She's a spirit of the wood. She created this mist a long time ago because she felt spiteful that no one was going to her anymore to ask for gifts of magic, because all of the magic was put in these cards, which are called Providence cards. And then because they had magic at their fingertips instead of having to ask for some, she got really angry. So she created this mist to lure people back into the wood so that she can, I don't know if she had good intention or not, but essentially this mist,
she essentially punishes them.
I mean, like, if you, again, here's me trying to be like looking at it in two different ways already. She punishes them because you get really sick and you die.
But question mark?
You're granted magic for maybe a while. I don't know. But anyways, this mist infects people with a fever. And after the fever, if you survive it, then you're granted this strange, wonderful, powerful magic. Could be wonderful, could be tragic. I don't know. But you have these magical gifts that can be used without having to use the Providence cards. But magic comes with a price.
Yes.
And this fever, you guys, that people get, it seems intense. Like the way people are hit with it, like the black veins that come across their body, and just like, I just felt like I could feel how uncomfortable it was to be so sick for days at a time. And you were little. You only caught this fever when you were a child.
Yeah, no, it definitely felt like a plague of sorts, like very old school, like bubonic plague-esque, like you may or may not survive. Rough.
Yes. So
was it? I was trying to remember. You didn't have to have gone in the mist recently or anything like that. It just happened, right?
I think
you just caught a fever.
I think, yes. I think that you can catch a fever and you can just be infected. I don't know. It could just be in the air, but there's definitely places where this mist or fog is more dense, and it is more in the wood. And this mist is getting so dense that it's starting to basically isolate this town of Blunder from all the other cities that are around them. But yeah, I didn't have the sense that Elspeth, our main character, had went into the mist, because they had these charms that they used to carry with them to kind of protect them from the mist. But when they're actually in it, it gets pretty intense in there. So
yeah. Well, and she doesn't seem like she really wandered around much when she was, because at that point she was still with
her dad
in the house,
and he was captain of the Destriers at the time. So she would, I feel like she would know,
not have gone near the mist.
Correct. I feel like she should have known better. But yes, Elspeth Spindle is our main character in this whole story. She gets infected when she's like 9, I think.
12. Yeah.
She's infected
when
it
was 11 years ago, and she's 20 now.
Yes, she was infected when she was 9. She was living with her dad, who was a captain of the Destriers. And the Destriers are the people who actually go around hunting with the physicians for the people who are infected, because if you're infected, then you basically die, or they take you to this dungeon where they assume everyone is burned or killed.
Yeah.
Did it make either of you uncomfortable that the physicians are bad in this and that they're like purposely going around to do harm and like find infected and then hurt them? That being in healthcare ourselves, you expect a physician to want to do good. That's like the oath that they take, and that's definitely not the case here.
No, I pictured them essentially like the guys with the bird mask. Like
Yes.
that's
Same.
100% how I
Totally.
pictured them the whole time.
Mhm.
So for me, I didn't associate it with like present day physicians. I very much took it as like
a word for me. That's just what they call it. Yeah.
evil. Yes,
Mhm.
and that's just the term they came up with.
Yeah.
Because other than that, really, it seemed like their only intent was to find people with this fever. Otherwise, like,
and
I mean, I know they did other things,
because
but like,
Gillig is a true physician.
so
true.
Gillig,
Yes, he
I feel like
was.
is more true to what a true physician was like, because he did
Should
say
be.
before they cared for the people who were getting ill. That was their main job. But then I think because
And then it kind of transitioned.
yes,
That's right.
of
That's
how
right. I
like the
remember that now.
kings and the Roman rulers dealt with everything, it
Yes.
kind of developed and turned into this
Transitioned over time.
this ugly thing.
Well, and what was the main one's name that actually
Osric. Yeah.
the one that had the
with
the gross claw.
Yeah.
thing?
Let's all do it. The claw.
Like I picture like Wolverine, like
it was not.
Yes, and then
it didn't look like it was like, like little rings on a fingertip kind of thing. It seemed like it was a contraption.
Yeah, no,
attached.
it was I pictured it much larger.
Yeah.
Yeah, like big and attached and like
Yeah. So when Elspeth got infected and she was dealing with the fever, her mom, I believe, was already dead, because I think dad was already with his new wife, and they had
Miriam.
2-year-olds, I'm assuming, because I think she said she's 7 years older than her sisters. They're twins. But when she got infected with the fever, her dad had sent her away to go live with her aunt, who was super close with her mom. So Aunt Opal and Uncle Hawthorne. And that's where we meet cousin Ione and their brother, or the boy cousin. I don't remember his name because he didn't play a huge part in this book.
I think there were a few. I think
there was many,
boys.
but I think they only mentioned like
they don't
another
really talk
one.
About them.
So if you are infected with the mist magic, you are granted a gift, and no gift, I believe, is the same. And there's typically not a lot of people alive who have gifts, because if you were infected, you were hunted down and brought to the dungeon, and nobody knows what really happened to you. They just all kind of assume that you died. But Elspeth, she didn't go too long after being infected. She was at her uncle's house, and there was a card on his desk because he had stolen it. He had stolen this card because she remembers seeing him coming in with a bloody sword and saying like, oh, basically I went through a lot to get to this. And he's hidden this card for 11 years. But when he first brought it home, she touched it. And then that's when we meet I don't even know what to call him, our nightmare. But
yeah, that's what she calls him for the first while, until we realize who it is.
Oh my God,
she just
love
refers
him.
to him as the nightmare.
I love the nightmare.
I know.
He's creepy as fuck, but I love him. I just love his like how, I don't know. I love him. I love a villain, and he felt like a villain, and I love him. I love how he talks. He talks in rhyme.
Yeah. I think he grew on me more by the end.
Yeah.
Is when it's hard because it's one of those like, he is a villain, but he's really not. He has good intent. We find out he's got good intent the entire time. He's trying to protect her, but he can't protect her from just what is naturally inevitable.
Yeah.
From the course. He never oversteps per se unless she asks for it. But
consent
yet
is always important.
Yes. But yet the only thing is he is not very forthcoming with her about every time she asks for help that is degenerating her, because the raw magic that they get from the illness, there's a degeneration that comes in different forms for each person. That's why people turn to the cards instead, because you don't get that, but you can still be using magic. So I just feel like he could have been a little bit more forthcoming with her, but
yeah, but I don't think it would have
he's got
changed when she would have
no.
used him. She needed to use him pretty much every fucking time that she
Yes.
did,
Yeah.
because otherwise she probably would have died and
Yeah.
or been severely injured
Yes.
most of those times. Like, it was
Yeah.
always pretty much a last resort. So even though no, he was not forthcoming in that, I don't think it would have changed
I know.
her
And
usage ever, sadly.
the way he
I
just...
can't decide.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just, whenever he's like, magic comes with a price. Like, you knew this was but like, she didn't, I don't think, fully understood
No,
what
she
her
didn't.
degeneration was. But
yeah,
because whenever you degenerate, basically that's the price that you're paying to have this magic within you. So everyone's degeneration is different. Like, usually it's like you lose your body or your mind. Like, you either go crazy or something happens to you. And I think she kind of lost both, because she's losing herself in it. But then, like, with the Providence card, you're paying in a different way. For each card, it has its own con to using it for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone can use them, but the more you use it, the more you're going to have whatever. It's basically like the opposite of what it's meant to do.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one has like this flip side. It's like it's their dark side of the card.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Which I loved that concept. The whole concept of it being cards was cool. The price that you had to pay with each one of them was very interesting.
What it did
and
for
then
you,
yeah. And then even just finding out the cost that it, obviously cost the Shepherd King, that we find out later. Like, it was just interesting how they all came to fruition. Even like, okay, this is the cost of this, because like, it just made so much sense when you broke it down like that. Eventually, once my brain wrapped around everything that was happening, because initially I was like, wow, this is a lot. Now it makes perfect sense, and I could very easily probably reread this and be like, oh my god.
Yeah, I feel like I would enjoy rereading this now that I know more, because it was a lot of information, but it's such a unique and very cool magical system.
Oh, yes.
Like, it's, of course, he's like kind of a monster. I almost feel like that's like a figment of her imagination of what she just created him to be in her mind. But really, it's just about this magic with the cards, and that I have never seen anything like that before. And, after you read a certain amount of fantasy, they kind of all overlap, and it's your standard, like, I'm Fae, so I'm strong and I'm fast, and I have these extra abilities that are shadow and wind and, elemental or whatever. So this was such a unique take on that, and I loved it.
Yes. Okay, so since we're talking about the cards, there are 12 to complete a deck, but there's many more than 12 cards out there. There are 12 black horses, and we can talk about that stuff later. Those are the ones that the destriers all have. Like, those are, I think they give like the power of strength or something like that. But there's 11 golden eggs, 10 prophets. I feel like this is a Christmas song. Night white eagles. I'm gonna sing this Christmas song. 8 maidens, 7 chalices, 6 wells, 5 iron gates, 4 scythes, 4 scythes, 3 mirrors, 2 nightmares, and 1 twin altars. I really want to make this a Christmas song, you guys.
Yeah, I mean, now that you said it, it really is a perfect Christmas song.
Definitely thought
black horses, 11 golden eggs, 10 prophets, 9 white eagles, 8 maidens, 7 chalices, 6 wells, 5 iron gates, 4 scythes, 3 mirrors, 2 nightmares, and 1 twin altars.
It almost, I was gonna say, that one's a little bit of a struggle, but the rest all fit pretty well as far as the song goes.
I don't even know.
It really does.
Anyway.
No, that sounds like it, girl.
There
it does.
are the size of playing cards, and they all have like lined, they're all lined with velvet, which I thought was pretty cool. And the velvet, all the velvets were different colors of the cards. They're the only technically legal way to perform magic in the current time in Blunder. To activate it, you just tap it 3 times, and to deactivate it, you tap it 3 times. You don't have to have it on you all the time once you've activated it. You just have to be able to tap it 3 times to deactivate it. But again, all magic comes with a cost. So like I think one of them, like, was it the chalice that it's like a truth serum, but if you use it too much, it eventually turns to poison kind of thing. And then the maiden, like it'll turn you beautiful, but if you have it for too long, it turns your heart cold and then you're just kind of ugly on the inside kind of thing. So I really did like the whole, like how that whole magic system worked. I thought it was very unique. I'm sure it's been used somewhere, but this is the first time I'm experiencing it and I loved it. I just imagine these tarot cards that just like had the pictures in front of it and I was like, ooh, this is very cool.
Yeah, I loved that she could see them in colors. Like I love that she just walks around because of the nightmare gives her the ability to see Providence cards. That's one of her magics, which really it's just his magic. I love that she could just see them as colors and that they're so bright. Like just being able to walk into a room and being like blue, purple, white, black, and like she could see through walls. She could see through clothes. Like didn't matter. She could feel and see like the aura of the card just like radiating from the person that had it. So cool.
I thought it was cool. This nightmare is so cool, okay? Because not only does he have the ability to see these Providence cards, he also has the ability to take over and use his strength and speed to help her through her. He can help make it so she can see better in the dark. He is also not affected by the cards at the same time, even though he can see it. I want so much more of him, and I feel like we're going to get a lot.
You're
I
going to
think
get
you're
it.
going to get that.
I know.
I feel like because of who he is and the fact that he created, basically, or he didn't create them, the Spirit of the Wood created the cards, but the fact that they were created for him and that he gave something up for them, he's either going to have every magical ability that any person who's infected with magic is going to have, or he's going to be able to like use aspects of all of the cards innately. Because he has shown a lot of them. He's very fast, near impossible to beat in a fight, just like a black card. He can beat the truth serum.
No, he can't.
He can't?
No, because it's in her blood. He said specifically, I can't help you through this. It's in your blood now. Like I can't, the most I can do is
that's right.
Like,
yeah, but I think
Skype.
I was going to say, but I think he could.
I think he could truth serum somebody. But he can't fight the effects of her.
Correct. He couldn't do it for her. Correct.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
It'll be interesting. I think we're going to see a lot in the next book.
I know. I'm very excited to see him in this.
I mean, obviously, we're skipping way ahead. The nightmare is the Shepherd King. We find that out. How long did it take you guys to figure that out?
Not long.
Me neither.
I was going to say, I don't feel like... Yeah, I don't feel like it took me that long. I don't remember when exactly, but that revelation wasn't like, oh my God. It was like, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Everything that just kept going on just solidified it further for me. I was just like, this is him. This has got to be him.
I feel like he has a plan. I know we're in a hard spot at the end of this book. But I feel like he has a plan that he is not, once again, being super forthcoming with everyone about. Like,
he's going to kill the Rowans.
Yes. But I also feel like I don't know, maybe I'm pulling at you. I feel like he somehow still has her best interest in heart, and that he's going to do something to help her. Because he's obviously
because he was trying to help the U's.
Yeah, because he is a U. Right?
Well, yeah.
That's where at least it was.
But he promised her that he would
help them,
take care of them. And so even at the end, that's what he was doing. He was trying to take care of all of them because that's what he promised her, which I respect someone keeping their promise. So I'm just very curious to see how that's all gonna play out.
I picture him like exacting his revenge because they killed his whole family and all the children and all of that. And then I kind of picture him like releasing himself, his soul somehow. Like obviously they're going to get the Spirit of the Wood involved and they'll find the cards, whatever. But I think like his soul will release from her and hopefully she'll come back. I mean, I think she'll come back. And I feel like him and the Spirit of the Wood have a relationship because I got the impression that she was female, right? She's female.
Yes.
So I kind of feel like they're going to like frolic off into...
Okay, so there's like one thing that
together.
he says frequently about it's the man and the girl, and then together they become the monster. It's like one of the last things that Elspeth says before she loses herself. And I'm just like, and for some reason I feel like this isn't the first time.
He says it a lot.
He says it a lot, but I feel like I don't know if it's a prophecy or if it's happened before, because she just keeps having these dreams over and over again of her running into the wood from a fire that's burning it down a castle. I'm guessing it's Castle U from like back in the day, over 500 years ago.
Yep.
And this is like when he died, something, I don't know what happened.
They describe him dying. He climbs in through like the window and is met by the Rowan, and then it says he like gets stabbed, and the next thing he knows he's like on the ground there and bleeding out. But it's all said kind of vaguely, like not like I got stabbed, and it's just like I feel cold metal, and then now I'm in the dirt and I can feel like my life force going. And he talks about them murdering a lot, but that passage about the girl, and I thought that was him and the Spirit of the Wood, like the first full time talking about it. But then at the end, it feels like it's him and Elspeth, and it's their story.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. I'm curious if it's going to be a multifaceted, you know, like it's not just that, like it is both. Like, you know, like I don't know that it's just him and Elspeth. Like it could be him and the Spirit. Like, yeah, I feel like it could be both. And then it's so interesting to think about the fact he was wandering around without his soul. Like, because wasn't his soul already in the
card? I think
the card.
Yes,
because that was his payment for creating that card. Yeah. So like his body and life force were just wandering around soulless, and then was like, I'm just so it was just an interesting concept for me, like to think of him wandering around without a soul this whole time.
See, and
and then his body
I don't feel
dying
like it was
there.
very long though, because that was like one of the last ones to be made, right?
Well,
no,
yeah,
the twin
yes. The twin alders
was the last, but I think that was made when he died.
No, like, I think the nightmare card was the last one was the last one because he traded the twin alder card. Oh no, he traded the twin alder card for something.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was now.
But there's two nightmare cards. This whole time I'm like, does Raven have a little furry beastie in his head too? No. I kept being like,
I know, I contemplated that too, because I was like, okay, if his soul was used to create both, why did she, like, does she have half his soul? Like, I literally,
that's what I was thinking, that maybe there was another soul in the other one.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's why he's
weird
a monster.
Because Raven, like, so she absorbs cards. Raven looks like he absorbs them, but he must actually be repelling them.
No, Raven doesn't absorb cards.
When he touches them, they lose all their color.
But he doesn't absorb their power or anything like that, does he?
No, and it's just the ones that he's been losing year after year.
Yes, his degeneration is that he cannot use them anymore.
Use certain cards. Yeah. And so he can still use that one. Like it was that one.
The mirror.
Which mirror and twin altars. I think it's just those three left.
Well, he's assuming
the other ones he like neutralizes them essentially.
Yes. But Elspeth is the one who absorbs whatever payment was used to create the cards.
I'm just saying, she's assuming that, though, because she's never touched anything more than the nightmare.
I know.
So that is still an assumption.
I agree.
I would like to see that in action.
I agree. Because I'm just like, imagine the power that she would have if she, but then also how fast would she die? The generation for that, you know?
Well, she is, in theory, gone.
Now.
So, like,
yeah, but would those still degenerate her? Because it's not like an actual soul. It would just be a certain type of magic. I almost feel like him coming back to life essentially was her degeneration, but I don't know that the others would degenerate her like that. Do you think?
I think there'd be something else that would happen, probably just depending. Because I mean, like, basically, his cost for the nightmare period was his soul, so her payment also is her soul, is how I saw it.
True.
So
that's true.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But okay, so the
She'd
reason
have to pay all the costs.
The reason why, basically, the whole thing of this story is that there is a king who's an asshole that's going around killing these children who are infected with magic and punishing all those who try to protect them or harbor them or whatever. We are trying to collect all the Providence cards so that we can banish this mist from Blunder. Because on the final page, the Shepherd King, who is the one responsible for making all these cards and dealing with the spirit of the wood, after he gave up his soul, whatever, maybe it was before then, he found out how to destroy the mist. And so on the last page of the Shepherd book that he used to help protect them and teach the people how to use the cards, it said, "The 12 call for each other when the shadows grow long, when the days are cut short and the spirit is strong. They call for the deck, and the deck calls for them. Unite us, they say, and we'll cast out the black. At the king's namesake tree, with the black blood of salt, all 12 shall together bring sickness to a halt. They'll lighten the mist from mountain to sea, new beginnings, new ends, but nothing comes free." Is this the solstice? Is this why they keep trying to get this thing by solstice? Because that's when it's like the shortest day of the year. And then they think that they have their salt for blood, their black blood salt. Black blood is because their blood turns black whenever they're infected. Salt is the smell that everyone essentially senses whenever magic is thick in the air. So that, I think, means that someone who has been infected and then their blood has to be involved in it. And then the namesake tree, that every family home, from what I understand in this book, has their tree in their home. Like the Spindle family, like their residence has a spindle tree in their courtyard or whatever. So I'm also thinking it's that. But which king's namesake tree are we talking about? The Shepherd Kings, or are we talking about the current Rowan King? I'm just wondering when all of this is going to happen. But the problem that everyone is having is because as the cards go down to, the 2 cards and the 1 card, it's getting harder and harder to find those ones, especially since the Alder card has never been seen. So no one knows where it is. And the last person who's ever seen it or had it was a Shepherd King. And from what I remember, I could have sworn he traded that card to the spirit of the wood. That was his cost for something. And it was crazy. Everyone thought it was crazy because the only way you can get rid of this mist is if you had all 12 of the cards, but there was only one of that card and he traded it out. So it didn't make any sense. So like, how are they going to complete this mission?
Yeah, but he says he knows where it is, which is interesting.
Because he's the one who had it last.
I know, but if he had given it to her, how would he know where it's
at? Okay, here's my theory.
He goes and meets with her a lot. So
he meets with her though in that chamber with that one dark window. Like that's where he built that place for, because he kept saying this is all she asked for. This is where they would have their magic dealings, was in this place, and she didn't need a door. She just needed one window. And so I'm thinking that it's there with him.
That feels too easy.
Everything is too easy.
Just me?
No, it's.
But that's the ruins of the old castle. So
no,
it would
I
make
understand
sense.
that, but like, how do you get a whole book finding? Like, to me, this next book should involve him going and hunting this card, and it feels too easy for them to just walk in there and get this card. Walk in there, climb in there.
No, I think this book is going to be him exacting his freaking vengeance. I think
it's going to be.
He knows exactly where it is. It's not going to be hard for him to find it. I feel like he's going to be like dragging them along. I feel like there's going to be a lot of turmoil between, trying to get Elspeth back.
The problem is we just came off of that series where everything was taking 1,000 years to do anything. So for me, I'm like, the card should take longer to find.
Oh my gosh, I know when they were starting to her and Raven were starting to kind of be together. I was like, wow, we're going so fast.
I know. I know.
But like fast,
Where's the
but
slow burn? I don't understand.
It was
Okay,
a
it
medium
wasn't a
burn.
slow-
It wasn't really slow.
it was a medium burn because it
Yeah,
still
no, it
had
wasn't a
good
medium.
build up.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Like
I
the
was
small
not
little
disappointed.
touches
Yeah.
and like
Are you
I
pretending?
did like
Oh no, girl.
yeah, I liked
I'm not
their
pretending.
relationship. I also like that she's the only one because he's like grumpy sunshine, you know.
Yeah.
He's definitely grumpy and she's the only one that sees him happy, but he's also super arrogant. Like he's got this constant kind of arrogance to him
Mhm.
that I can picture perfectly, and I kind of loved it. Like after they hooked up and he like comes down and he's like peacocking
he's like,
around
yeah,
the table.
yeah.
And Elma's just like, why are you smiling? Is no one else like disturbed by the fact that he's
was so
smiling
funny.
right now?
I love that.
He cracks
Oh.
me up.
Okay, you know who he was reminding me of? Eamon. I was kind of getting Eamon vibes from him. Not in that he's going to like betray them. I think he's very, very, very loyal.
Yes.
But he is very fickle with his interactions with her. He seems protective of her at times, and then other times he's extremely rude and distrustful to her.
Mhm.
Like he seems like he hates her, but then yet he's
Protective.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like,
But I feel like that's coming from a place of like
He
loving,
Yeah.
you know, his brother. I know it's not his brother, but like loving his brother. Like it's coming from that place. It's not necessarily coming from I actually care for this girl.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
he's definitely protecting
Him-
his cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him freaking out and like every time they're like remotely touch
It's
each other
so
though
cute.
was so funny.
I love it.
I know.
People are like, "Ugh." But I also loved how once they were together, how like consistent Raven was with showing his affection.
Yeah.
He didn't hold back at all. As soon
Mhm.
as they were together, it was like, that was that. You are mine. I'm gonna
Take care
touch
of
you,
you.
kiss you in front of people.
Mhm.
I'm gonna hold your
Yeah.
hand every time we're near each other.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't get enough of touching her, being with her, or whatever. And I kind of loved that.
Mhm.
Because a
Yeah,
lot of
because
the
I feel like
times-
we don't get that a lot of the time. They like
No.
hide it or they're
It was
all of a
very
sudden
cute
weird
moments
about
too,
it.
like
And he was
foreheads touching, and I'm like,
I know.
yeah. It was
No,
very
he was-
sweet.
Yeah, it was very sweet, like and very consistent, which
Yes.
is refreshing.
Yeah.
Because we get a lot of inconsistent fucking men who like
Or
weird
inconsistent
and-
women where like it goes
Yeah.
back
True.
and forth where they're kind of fickle once again with their emotions of how they show they're angry, mad, quick to like whatever.
Mhm.
I feel
Yeah.
like the two of them always
Once they
found
crossed the line, they were
Yeah.
like
there is no
"We in
denial
this."
anymore.
They, like, found-
Mhm.
yeah,
Correct.
they like
there was
found,
a little before, but then as soon as they
Yes.
decided, and
Yes.
I appreciate that.
They like found solace in each other. Like you could tell they were
Yes.
each other's peace whenever they were
Mhm.
Yeah.
together.
Well, because I think that they
And I
yeah,
have
well,
a lot
and
in
like
common, and so they found that like we know
Yeah.
what it is to hide from all these people and to be guarded all the time, and
Mhm.
so I feel like that kind of helped bond them a little bit more.
well, and you know what's refreshing? They would find out secrets about each other, and it wasn't you know,
end of the world.
20 chapter betrayal worth.
He
Yeah.
lied to
I
me.
appreciated that. Yes.
Correct. That was probably the most refreshing.
Yeah.
Like they're like, "Oh no, I understand why you would hide this. Like that makes
Mhm.
sense." Like
because
you've
I would
done
do
it
the same thing because I
Correct.
have
And I
been
was
there.
like, wow, some mature ass fucking 20-year-old
Yeah.
just figuring
Like-
out how to communicate.
Yeah.
Even in the end, when Renelm was like, "See, she was lying to us this whole time. I told you. Like, what the hell is this?" And Raven's like, "Just give us a
Yeah.
minute, please. I just need you to go. Like, I just need to just talk to her." He didn't let other
No.
people talk him out of his
Oh, he
feelings
was
for
so
her
nice.
or
No.
how it was. Yes, he was kind
Nope.
of bummed he had to pretend to be dating her in the beginning. I didn't realize that part. I was hoping that was it, but I didn't really like
Oh,
get it where okay, so they find out that the highwaymen are the other people who half the destriers are. So there's this full group of 12 destriers, or maybe not 12. There's a bunch of people who look for my ADHD is so bad right now. There's a bunch of people that
I
help
love
the
it.
physicians look for these people. They keep the peace, whatever. They're the king's men. And the captain of the king's men is his sister's son. And that makes the king's eldest son, who's the heir, Hoth, it makes him really mad because he feels that he should have been the captain. But because Raven was also infected, and it's not like a widely known thing, he is immune to a lot of these other cards. And so he cannot be swayed, he cannot be controlled. So the king decided to make him the captain, which I think is very smart. Like, if you're going to have a captain of somebody, don't let them be easily manipulated, right?
Also so hypocritical that like the two people he has hunting down all the infection are both infected.
Know.
Like he just wants to collect them. He doesn't, it's like, I'm going to collect the ones that have the most power and the most use to me, and I'll discard the ones that are not useful to me, because they wanted her for that same reason. Like the physician kept saying, the king is going to be so mad at me if I kill you because you're so powerful. So this is just a control thing. He's just trying to control the magic.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, guys, I really hated how do you say his name? Hoth. Thank you.
Hoth.
I was like, I hated.
You're singing a lot in this one.
I hated his character so much.
No, yes, he was the typical asshole. Did not love him. Just belittling everybody. Just obviously taking power, and it's going to his head. Bullshit.
Well, and him and Ione, like how he treats
that
her.
hurt my soul, because he was being icky with her, with his fucking
card, his gross
which
card.
one was the controlling card?
His
and
his scythe.
How much she hates him, because she obviously does not hate him before she meets him. She's very intrigued and thinks that like he could be fine. Like that's kind of why her and Elspeth get in a fight.
I don't know if she was fine. I think she said it when they were playing. Okay, hold on. Let me finish my story before I forget it. The highwaymen. So
yes, highwaymen.
Raven, who's the captain of the Destriers, and Jesper, who is the king's second son, who is the second son. So, he's the spare. They don't really care about him because the first one is good. Him, and then Jesper, who is Raven's sister. I think those are the three main Destriers that create this highwaymen group, along with the U parents. So Raven's mom and dad are also a part of this. And then a physician is also a part of this. Am I missing anyone else?
Their butler?
Oh, their butler. Oh,
I was going to say,
their butler.
There was a few randos that I felt like
and then
getting thrown in there. That
Spruce twin.
I was going to say,
I'm just throwing out a random tree. No. Are they spruce? I don't know. I think I just made up a tree.
That's a spruce tree. I don't know if they were that family, but yes, there were also twins in there. So they are working. They all have the same goal, the king and the highwaymen. They all want to find all the Providence cards to get rid of the mist. But the main goal for the highwaymen is to not kill their person that the king has designated to use the blood to complete this spell, or whatever you want to call it. Emery. He's younger. I think he's maybe 18, 17. I don't know. I don't feel like he's like 15.
Yeah, he was a little bit younger, I think.
But he is Jesper's and Raven's younger brother, who was also infected, but he is degenerating poorly. Like, he is not well.
His mind is
well, in his body, he's puking up blood too,
which is affecting his body. I mean, but I think it's because of his mind loss that his body was. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was just both, because his body was rough.
But he's not doing well.
But they were almost making it sound like he wasn't getting enough food, and I don't know if that was the king's doing.
I don't know. I don't know. I think that he just is. His body is just withering away because he drinks a lot, probably because he's crazy. Like, he probably has to drink.
Death's
again,
door, for sure.
Young people drinking, I guess, it's not uncommon.
They are all drinking a lot in this.
A lot. There's a lot of drinking to be had. But yes, he drinks a lot, and his power is he can see into you. Like, I feel like is what's it called? I feel like he's like the
Yeah,
well.
he can like see into your
See
mind.
into who you are or something like that.
All your secrets.
The highwaymen. That's how they met. That's how Raven.
Yes, because they were trying to attempt to steal a card from her,
Yes.
or at least
Well,
find
because
out about
Raven's
her
mom
uncle's
had used
card.
one of the cards that sees the
Mhm.
future or something like that. And she said, you need to be on this
Yes.
highway. They were parked out there for like camped out there for days, waiting for a hooded person to come into there. And they were going to be the one to help
She
them.
did.
And and Elspeth was it. And she kicked Raven's ass and she made fun of his beaky nose and said that he looked like a bird anyway. But now she just finds him so attractive.
I die. I love that that's how they met. I think that's so funny.
I knew, you know how I knew that that was going to be her person? From the way she described his smell.
Oh, it's cedary. Was it cedary?
It was like cedar and something else. And I was like, oh,
there he is.
It's a cedar smelling guy because it's always him in every single book.
I feel like anytime
Cedar
you
pine.
describe somebody that smells, if that's how you
Yeah,
know.
any
But
sort
it's
of
the
musk.
attractive guy. It's always a main male character is like cedar, pine, snow,
Got
whatever.
this musky nature scent that you
Yes.
just can't resist.
So I was like,
no, I
oh,
agree.
that's her man.
You smell like
That's her man.
you smell like mulch.
so
Let me. You're sexy.
Mulch.
You smell
Oh my
like
God, I
Aqua
can't.
di Gio Armani.
Oh my God, I can't.
You smell like bark that we put in my garden 2 days ago. I actually like that smell. So
I like that smell.
I was gonna say, which is why they describe them smelling like fucking trees, guys.
it's
Because we're into
very
it.
woodsy. Maybe that's why
Very woodsy.
we like the wood.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it is. It's like this nature scent
Your
that
fucking
always
face
like.
right now. I hate you. We like the wood.
Stop it! I cannot. You do it.
You can't take us anywhere, Bree.
What?
No.
You can't.
But you can't take me anywhere either. So it's really a trifecta
We're
thing
fun.
for sure.
We're fun, you guys. We're fun.
We're fun.
We are.
At least we think
something.
we are. So
Yeah,
That's fine with me.
we really don't
I
care
don't
if
know
you
if
agree or
everyone else
not.
agree, but
so long as we think so.
especially because we are not quiet, we're loud about it too.
Yeah.
Anyway, I forgot where I was going with all of that.
Well, we know
You
about the
explain the
highwayman.
highwaymen.
Yes.
So then we go to
The castle. 'Cause
castle.
What was happening?
for equinox.
Oh yeah, they were invited
That's
to
what
the
was
equinox.
happening.
Okay, because Elspeth does not live with her dad. She does not live at
No.
court with her dad. She's been living with her Aunt Opal and Uncle Hawthorne or whatever his name is, the douchebag, for like 11 years because her dad sent
Way
her
wrong.
away and he's really sad that his first wife died. And we know he's really sad that his first wife died because he has a tree out there for her.
For her.
And
then he always gets
yellow
gets her
yarrows
flower.
for his the
Yeah.
irises because her name was Iris, so he has
Iris. I was
irises.
gonna say,
for
her name
names.
was Iris.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which is very cute.
but you
and
know that
sad.
he still loves her because every birthday she has, or name day they call it, he gets her the yellow yarrow. I haven't looked up to see what that looks like. I'm gonna do it right now, but like it's always the same flower every year.
Mhm.
Well, and he seems genuinely sad when he's around her.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't seem like someone that doesn't care about his daughter and
No.
isn't unhappy. You know, it's not like an inconvenience to have her there.
Mhm.
So it's an interesting. I mean, he does say at the end, like, that if he could go back and change it, he would.
Yeah.
But he probably thought that having her away from him was the safest thing for her because he was the leader of the Destriers at that point. Oh, yeah.
Cute.
That's a cute little flower. Yeah. No, he's not a dick, but the fact, I don't know. You can tell that he loves
That he sent his child away.
Yeah, and then like bring her back, but maybe it was to protect her, you know, because he lives within the walls of the positions, and the wood's going to protect her.
His second wife wasn't a huge fan of her, so
No,
I feel like it was a matter of time before she would have like accidentally turned her in.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyways, they're invited
Yeah.
to the equinox at Stone, which is the castle that the Rowan family live in. And the only reason why I think they're going this year is because Ione and her dad have plans to meet with the king so that she could meet Prince Hoth. And
Okay, but on their way there, she talks about, because Elspeth's like, ew, he's the worst. He's a brute. And she was like, he might be fine. Like, you don't know. We haven't met him. He could be fine. I think she knows that this is definitely just a power grab. She's doing it for the power, but yet she's, I think, hopeful, or at least at that point, still optimistic that it won't be like a horrible situation. But the second we see her after they do become betrothed, she has so much hate in her eyes towards him that you know that bad things are happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bad things are happening.
I would love to get a like throwback moment to when they first meet and how all of that goes down. I feel like it was bad. I mean, obviously it was because she immediately basically hated his guts. But it would be interesting to see what all has gone down behind closed doors with him because clearly he is not a good guy, and it is very evident when they do eventually play that truth game.
Oh my god, that truth game. Wait, who do you think gave Ione the maiden card?
The king.
The king gave it to her.
It was like an exchange.
So
it was like he got the card he wanted, and in exchange he gave her a maiden card as like her dowry. Like a part of the whole exchange.
And then also, okay, so he got the card and the uncle got the maiden card to give to her, and then she would be betrothed to Prince Hoth,
and be like the most beautiful woman in.
But she didn't even need to be.
Blunder.
I'm wondering if she had to use the maiden card to
I was gonna say,
be appealing to Prince Hoth.
Yes, that's what I think. It was forced on her.
I was gonna say, I think she was forced to use it, and then the card's been held against her, like because she never
has
the card again.
You're right.
She did.
I think it's hidden from her.
She did have it in the beginning. She
initially, but then I think she was forced to use it, and it was locked away where she cannot deactivate it, and that's why she's getting colder and colder.
Because she hadn't.
I don't think she can deactivate it.
When she had it, and when Elspeth saw her with it, I don't think she had used it yet, because it was the next time she was really like, whoa, like why?
She was taken aback by how she looked, and then she never saw the card on her ever again.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Wait, did she not have it when she visited her? I thought she had it still when she visited her after she broke her wrist.
She never
had it again.
She only had it prior to using it.
So I bet you he used the scythe on her, made her tap it and use it, and then he took it from her.
What an asshole!
Because she's never has it.
That
again.
never occurred to me before, but I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, no, because as soon as she never had it again, I was like,
Well, and she just didn't seem the type to do that. Like, need that, want that. Using a maiden.
But also I think at this point,
it's taken hold of her.
She's probably cold-hearted enough. I don't know if she would deactivate it now. I don't know. I'm not sure. Because she is still very protected. Like you see little moments of her
protecting Elspeth.
Old self kind of trying to peek through in the way she protects her, and
I think
some of the things she says, but
I think that she'll end up with Elm.
Why?
Because it always talks about him focusing very much on her when she's around. Like, he watches her when she walks away. He was the one that was helping her during the truth game. He, grabs her face and gets her to like concentrate or whatever, so he can see that they've been given the child. But there's just tiny little nuances where they talk about him focusing on her, and then it's the perfect situation. Her cousin and best friend with his cousin and best friend.
Well, and like he's actually he's more what she was hoping for, as far as
he is the prince that she wanted.
Correct. Like, who actually had some decent intention behind
Yeah,
wanting
because
to
Elspeth
rule.
thought he was a brute also. I mean, he is kind of a brute. But, like,
I mean, a little bit.
he
But
has a good heart.
correct, where the other one does not at all. But I also wasn't sure if part of it was he liked her, which I do think is part of it. But I also just felt like he was super protective because he knows how terrible his brother
That's what I
is
thought.
and knew something was fucking up. Like,
Yeah.
and I appreciated that he could see some of that and was like, you've been using it on her. I loved that he called her, like, called him out. I
Yep.
was like, yes, fucking knew it. Fucking knew
I
it.
think
Oh, yeah.
it could start out that way and it could lead to something more.
100%.
I think he
could see them
he
together.
could end up being the one saving her.
I think he's
Yes.
gonna die.
Kidding,
I don't know.
He's like, just for shock value, motherfucker's gonna die. I'm dead.
Rude.
I hope not. I like him. I like his character.
I do like
I love Emery. I need them to save
I
him,
know.
and I don't know
I
that they're
know.
going to. But
I
I like
don't
that
know
he's
that they're
so
going
quirky.
I
He's
know,
so
he is
quirky,
very
and I love
quirky.
it when he like hangs
he-
in the tree and is like just shouting shit at them.
He freaked me out a little bit in the beginning,
He
just
freaked
when
me
we
out in the
first
beginning.
met him. But like after that, yes, I was like, oh, you poor baby, your brain's just going away.
Yeah,
It's
he was
getting
very
mushy.
creepy.
It's not your fault.
So mushy.
He was real
Yeah.
creepy in the beginning, but then after that, I really liked him. I thought he was
I
very
agree.
funny. And then when he finds them like kissing under the willow, he's like, "They're kissing."
I know he's. I know when he
cracks me
snuck off to their like home, it was a very redeeming moment for him,
Yeah.
for sure. Like where I was like, oh, there he is.
Yeah,
I see him now. I see the personality. We're getting at least a peek of what he used to be like before he his poor marbles.
Yeah. I really do like all the relationships that were in this book. I thought they were all well done and I thought they all connected well. I felt like I don't know. I just really enjoyed reading all of them and I felt like I could see it, all the relationships evolving in front of my eyes.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool. I really still do like
she did a great job with that.
relationship between Nightmare and Elspeth because I mean I guess that's all we ever like talked to or like watched happened. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting to see how him and Raven get along in this next book because I think it's going to be very, very, very hard.
Oh yeah.
For Raven, obviously it already is, like in the little snippet that we got at the end there, but
I know. When he's like trying to find her, I was like, oh. He's like, I can't get anything. And I'm like, is she there? She's deep. She deep, sir. I don't know if you're gonna find her.
Do you think that we're gonna see her in the next book? Like we obviously will, but like,
do you think we'll come back?
She's buried right now. Like nobody's come to the surface.
I was gonna say, I do think she is gonna come back, but I think it's gonna be a lot later. Like, I don't think it's gonna be like I think how it was with the Nightmare. I feel like it's gonna be like we see the Nightmare for a while and then finally
I think the mist will finally be
again.
lifted and then her curse will be gone and he can finally rest his soul and not be trapped for 500 years in a card or in a stone or wherever.
Do you think he's gonna get a body?
No.
Like his own separate body?
No. I think his time has passed.
I agree. I feel like I would be very surprised to see him get his own little body at that point. Like, I think he's gonna die. He's gonna die, I think.
Yeah. I think he's gonna sacrifice himself for her.
Well, yes.
But did you guys at any point think that he was the main male character?
No.
I actually didn't. Because that's just never the vibe I feel like he gave off.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I ever thought
No,
that.
I just assumed he was the Shepherd King. And then as soon as like it got like closer and closer to it, I was like, I knew something. I figured something out. Because
I went back and forth with it. I was like, is this going to be like the person she connects with? And then he's going to, before I knew like where the story was going, and then he's going to like come out of the body and then they're going to have a relationship because he knows her better than anyone else, or what it's going to be. But like you said, other than the few times he calls her like darling and things like that.
Yeah, but it still almost had like a daughter-esque
Yes.
feel
Yes,
to
it's
it.
more
It never
paternal.
felt, it never felt like that to
Mm-mm.
me ever.
Yeah.
And she was so scared of him for so long. Like, that would be quite, like, not to, clearly by the end, they had a relationship of sorts, but I just couldn't picture that much of a 180.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because
with
he just kept
it.
secret in her mind most of the time, right? He was either just really
Yeah.
silent and all you would hear is like his little claws or his teeth chittering, and that kind of creeps me out a little bit.
I know, I'm like,
I heard it every fucking time they said it. I was like,
Yeah.
the nails.
I mostly pictured it like I'm just trying to picture her at the end when it's like her body and she's in the
Dungeon.
and they're like, she starts chittering her teeth, and I'm like, so just this girl going, like, can you imagine?
No, I don't imagine it like
I picture the wind up teeth toy, from like Toy Story, where you like wind it up and then the teeth go.
No, I
That's what
totally
picture.
imagine it as like a just like
oh, like a grinding.
not grinding, like you're just like chomping a little bit, like I don't know. I
don't know. The nails were more visceral for me than the
nails
teeth.
get me. But he was dark in her mind a majority of the time until she asked him for help at a certain point, and then she was starting to like share dreams of him or with him. And then I think this was it. I think it was after she got invited to the equinox or whatever, and I think she had asked it was when she was attacked by the highwaymen, and she asked for his help because she was getting attacked and she needed help. But after that night, she had a dream of him, and she said, a man decorated in gold armor that had long lost his sheen. He was aged, older than my father, grisly and stern. He bore the weight of his armor without wavering, his strength deeply rooted. On his hip rested an ancient rusted sword with branches twisted in the crook carved in the hilt. The man in his armor had disappeared. In its place was a creature more animal than man. Coarse black fur grew from the ridge of his back. He hunched over the desk, the long quality of his fingers making it impossible to tell where flesh ended and claws began. His tail, furred and long, whipped menacingly. Who was that man in the armor? Someone long and dead, I'm afraid. So that's when I knew that he was the Shepherd King.
Yes, same.
So it's like not...
Well, the yellow eyes.
Oh, yeah. That kept coming through.
Guys, did you picture essentially a werewolf-esque
Yes.
type, like standing werewolf?
But like with more mangy hair, I feel like. I felt like he was more like hunched over.
I'm trying to picture.
I picture like
a movie or
true
something that like
werewolf, like the really hunched, like
not
like
an
Teen
actual,
Wolf, and then they had that one that you know what I'm talking about.
You would bring up Teen Wolf, Veronica.
Something worse than that. Yeah, but yeah.
But
like Remus Lupin.
Yeah.
But furrier.
But like
mangy.
But like I was picturing more of a standing
like
werewolf, not an actual wolf.
And then I think, okay, so then, sorry, you know how I said that he kept saying this thing where it made me feel like they had met before or something similar to this has happened. He said in her mind, because that's how they talk, is in her head, there once was a girl, clever and good, who tarried in shadows and the depths of the wood. There also was a king, a shepherd by his crook, who reigned over magic and wrote the old book. The two were together, so the two were the same. The girl, the king, and the monster they became. And I'm like, is this a prophecy? Is this something that had happened before? Is this something that is coming to fruition now? What is this? What do we know? What does the Shepherd King know? I need to know.
Yeah, because the way he says it there makes it sound like it had already happened.
But he says this like 3 or 4 times in the book.
Yes, he does.
But then he says it to her as she's degenerating completely, and she finishes the sentence.
Yes, and so that's why I'm just curious, because there's one time he was describing Ione, like when he first saw her, he's like, yellow girl, so plain and unseen, yellow girl, never will be the queen, or something like that. If that was right, and
he does say something.
And then later on, when she's like cold-hearted bitch, he's like, yellow girl, something she really pretty, and now she's the cruel queen or something like that. So I feel like not everything, even though it's all in rhyme
and
riddles, I feel like he still just says what needs to be said, but this is all like past tense words that he's using.
Well, and the way he describes the girl being in the shadow sounds more like
her in the shadow because he's taking over. You think it's like that, or because of the wood?
It could be like that, or it could be the spirit of the wood because she was in the mist, like in the wood. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it is such, it could go either way, and it could be both. I really think it's both.
I know. I really can't wait to read this next one.
I know. I'm really excited to read book 2. Maybe I'll get it done before this baby comes out of me, you know, at this rate.
That'll be your what's it called?
Push present?
Your not push present, but push project.
Push project.
Like when
while you're
while you're in like early labor, you just
read.
Yeah, you'll have your epidural. And you can be comfortable.
Not even earlier than that.
I was going to say, she's
like,
making it sound like I'm still at home. I'm still at home. It's like starting. I'm like, oh, maybe it's happening. Maybe it's not.
Something to distract you. Mine was watching Harry Potter.
It's this market day. Market day. I didn't understand what market day was.
Just like a celebration day.
Like you just go to the market and buy things?
Yeah, but they all wore their their
masks and things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just a special celebration. I don't know what, but yes, the market was going on and they did dancing and drinking and all that, and they wore masks and their house colors.
Yeah.
Anyways, on market day, they found an infected child, and the prince was a dick and wanted to basically execute his parents in front of the child because that was his punishment. And the way he wanted to do it was by using his scythe card and making the parents walk into the mist
without their
charms to protect them from the spirit.
Which, man, that happened fast. Like, that was hard to watch.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, well, like when Jesper, same thing. When she went into it, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was very fast.
Oh my god, when Jesper got taken, I didn't think she was gonna make it. I didn't think giving her a charm was gonna reverse all the things that happened. I'm like, no, she's a goner.
It's kind of wild that it can.
Yeah, agreed.
It was
well, and like it was weirdly good that she broke her leg because then she couldn't keep going.
Yeah,
that's what was also.
But she
wild,
was already in the mist, so like, wouldn't it?
I don't know. She couldn't have gone deeper.
Yeah,
I guess, into the thick of it.
She couldn't have gone deeper. I think was part of it. Like
she was getting lured deeper.
Yes, she was because she's like, they're calling me, and I just imagine. I imagine like all those little kids that ran into the woods, like laughing, like like that creepy kid laugh.
Yeah,
like they're all
like Hocus Pocus.
No, like worse.
Come
yeah.
No,
but like they're like ghost kids that are like like the merry-go-round.
Yeah, like creepy. Yeah.
I didn't like it. That's what I imagined was luring her.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it definitely was icky feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely had like that sense of doom.
Jesper reminds me of Alex.
Yeah.
Like kind of tomboyish, badass fighter.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But also
100%.
sweet and like loving.
They're trying to steal, what card is it? They find out that
the gate
card, the iron gate. I like when they're trying to steal the iron gate. Elspeth is over at the U house because Raven is supposed to be courting her. And I didn't realize you can just take girls to your home and have them live with you so you can date them. Because that would never happen.
I know. I also thought it was interesting because I would think that it would be like an old school courting where they had to have chaperones and things like that. You think of courting, but like that was not the case. It was like kissing, holding hands, like typical dating.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah,
I feel like I liked it. I thought it was a different way to do it, but also felt more realistic in a lot of ways. That's how you actually get to know each other, is like spending time with each other.
Well, and it wasn't like taboo, like them holding
No.
hands and kissing in public
Correct.
while not married or whatever. There wasn't a whole thing about that. It was just like, oh yeah, they're courting.
Honestly,
of course they're doing
thank
that.
fucking God, because if there had been, I would have been mildly annoyed.
Mildly, I don't know.
Probably more than mild, but you know,
But the
I'm
way
downplaying it.
that Jesper had to put on pretty clothes and not just her black destrier outfit, so she can go play tea party with
Oh my God.
the family, whatever, the wife and the daughters of the guy who they thought would have the Iron Gate. I thought was very comical because she was just like,
yeah.
This lady is so
did not
annoying, but
want
the
to.
daughters talk a lot. So that's really how we have to do it. We have to do it very sneakily so they don't know what we're talking about.
Oh, Elspeth did that great.
She did so
I was going to
well.
say, she took the charge on that, I feel
Considering
like.
she hasn't been in
Killed it.
court and like know how to talk to people anyway.
I know.
She did.
Some of that I was kind of like, huh. I would think she, you know, she felt so uncomfortable around other people, but then that kind of fades away pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's not like she didn't like grow up though with like her cousin. Like, so she wasn't like completely inept at socializing. It was just not maybe on that level typically.
Yeah.
It's like me. It's fine.
You're so stupid. Stop it. Oh, I can't.
Get out of here.
But yeah, I did love that. When did they get the card? I felt like that whole ordeal was crazy. Oh yeah, because that's when she fought with her dad and then ended up cutting up the prince's neck.
Ugh, loved that.
Because they go into the woods.
He broke her wrist.
Oh my gosh, that was...
Yeah, he did.
I felt that. I don't know, just the way it was written and described.
Yeah, I was like, PTSD. Like broken hand, wrist. I was like, I
but
definitely
also she
felt that.
She fucking maimed him though.
I know.
That was wild.
I know. Like,
I was
curious,
like,
did she grow claws or did you just scratch them with the regular nails from here up? Like, what happened?
I feel like she grows claws. Like
I was gonna say, because I just can't imagine doing that level of damage with normal fingernails.
Yeah,
you know, like I just don't think it could have been that deep.
Well,
because then the same with Lyndon when she cuts open his like gut or whatever.
No, yeah,
because it almost seems like a quick swipe too. It's not even like because you'd have to freaking like.
I don't even like thinking about
werewolf.
It. Yeah.
Werewolf.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I picture like them elongating and her just
because her eyes definitely change. They turn yellow whenever the nightmare takes over.
Turn yellow.
And she can see in the dark a little better.
She can see
like
in the dark.
They describe her like a cat.
But I feel like sometimes whenever he takes over, she's not there. She is not present all the time.
Because she blacks out for them sometimes. And then she wakes up and like when he does actual harm. And I wonder if that's his way of protecting her from it a little bit. Because she blacks out and then comes to and she's done this mortal damage. And she's not okay with it. She's very upset that it's happened. And then he obviously takes control of her body and she goes sleepwalking, which I'm like, what is actually happening when she's sleepwalking? So I wonder if he's actually out doing something.
I don't know.
When she was
so you know when she meets Emery at the equinox and he's like he's already drunk and he's like pouring her a drink and she's drinking all the things and then he meets her on the stairs and touches her and then he says a thing like, I see the yellow in your eyes and something about pale white fingers with blood on the ends. I'm like, okay, is it like whose pale white fingers are we seeing? Is it her pale white fingers? Can he see into the future or is he only seeing what he can see currently? So is it the Shepherd King's fingers that he's seeing?
I thought it was like him seeing what she had done at some point because she had woken up at one point and she had
that was later.
There was one time she had dirt under her nails. There was another time it was like blood on her hands. I pictured it being like more of a memory that he was seeing for that one.
See, I pictured him seeing into the future, kind of prophecy-esque, but a little bit of past, current, future all mixed into one. Like I see your soul and what's going to happen and like
I
all
could see
encompassing
that
is
too.
kind of how I pictured it in my head, but I don't know
For sure
Yeah.
which way he was looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they get the Iron Gate card from that guy,
Well, and then after they get that one, they have to get the well card
her
from
dad,
which that was
a lot.
fun.
But the way that they do it is because, I mean, she should be invited, but the twins have their name day party or celebration,
Yes.
and everyone, I guess her and then the Yu family are invited. And obviously the king and his family are invited because
It's like the whole court is there.
I was gonna say there were a lot of people
yes.
there.
Yeah.
The funny thing is Elspeth's birthdays aren't like that. They get to eat duck.
They're yeah.
They're a lot more, intimate than this party.
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
but
I
are
think
we
he's hiding her
surprised
away.
knowing them?
I'm not surprised because of the mom, but they make a plan to find the well card by searching the spindle house, and they're like, search on these floors, but not the top one, the 6th floor. And they're like, well, why not? She's like, well, because that's my room and my dad never goes in there. Like, there's no way that it would be up there, even though she hasn't been in that room in 11 years. It's been a very long time, because when she does go in there, everything is exactly the same. And the reason why she goes in there is because of this damn truth game that they get lured to by Ione, because the scythe card was being used on her by Hoth.
Yes.
Oh my god, this truth game. So basically, he used a chalice card, and they all drank from goblets. I don't really know how this chalice card works. Like, you just tap it, and then you're like, I want that cup and that cup and that cup to have.
Yeah, I
That
didn't
confused
really
me too. I didn't get that.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
thought
I
that it would
didn't
be
really
like a truth card to be like tap tap, tell me your truth, but the fact that it was somehow
wasn't.
in the chalice was weird to me.
Yeah, because they did say that
I didn't really
it
get
creates a
that.
truth serum. So I just don't. Do you like stir? I don't know. Stir the card in it.
Must be an
You
active.
tap it, get
Tap,
serum,
tap, tap,
and then pour it into
Ooh.
things. Yeah, because it almost seemed like they had to drink it.
Yes.
Still, like it was,
And it tastes.
Yeah.
which they all did.
I'm curious if only hers had a weird taste to it.
Well, I mean, it's essentially a poison, so it tasted bitter.
Yeah.
So I think they all did.
But how come hers made her sick?
Because she was
Because she was
rebelling
trying to
against
lie.
it. If you try to lie too much, then that's
then it
when the
poisons
poison
you.
kicks in.
Where the rest of them were at least answering or
Yeah.
being creative, she was resisting so hard it was poisoning.
She doesn't know how to do it.
Oh my god, she was panicking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely panicking. Well, and then she really panicked when
I know.
he went into a whole mind.
She's like, get out, get out, get out.
I know, she freaked out. Oh my
Yeah, she
goodness.
did.
But just the questions that they were asking, like when they asked Hoth, or when I guess Ione asked Hoth if he's been with anyone else since they got betrothed, and he was like, yeah.
Yes. Which she was not surprised by in the least. She just wanted confirmation.
I know, but just you can tell.
I mean, it's fucked
by
up.
the kind of questions they were asking each individual, or even like the questions that each person was asking other people, like kind of like where.
I know, but I loved when they questioned her, because she was like no qualms being truthful, which I mean, I'm sure came from her being a little bit of a cold-hearted bitch now. She's just like, no, I don't love him.
Mm-hmm.
I did this for power. Like, let's be real. I was like, whoa, we get real truthful when we're a little cold-hearted.
Yeah.
But you might be right, Kayla, because Renelm or Elm, he did ask Ione the question. He's like, do you love him? Why else would a boy ask that question? She said no. She does not love him, by the way.
Hell no.
Oh, yeah, and she had no problem answering that.
No.
I also love how she answered, has he been treating you well? And she said, as well as a brute like him knows how. I love how she skated across that one, because clearly that was a yes without saying yes.
Mm-hmm.
She knew how to play the game.
I was like, man, she played it well.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, how many has this happened?
Like too well.
Yeah. You answering these too good. Yeah, exactly. Too
well, but if you have no inhibitions, you're cold-hearted. You don't care what people think.
No, she said
so
she
you're
didn't
not gonna
want
be
to
afraid
play.
lie.
She didn't want to ask him a question. or whatever. She's like, I don't want to. And he's like, well, I'm going to think that you're hiding something.
Yeah.
She just is always forcing her to do something that she doesn't want to do or whatever. He just does it and then without even asking.
Well, and then even the way she answered, is this what you really want to marry him? She skates around it very well.
She sure did.
Yeah, no, her answers were probably the most impressive for me by far.
I know. Well,
how she went about it.
When they were describing this whole thing and it was Elm's turn to be asked questions, and I could see like Raven looking right at him, concentrating, like, you are going to get through this.
Yes.
I'm going to help you. I got you.
Yes.
I
could tell he was using his nightmare card then. Like, it was very obvious they were they were going through that together, which I love that because, I mean, obviously for him, it's like very easy to commune with him in his mind. I feel like at that point they'd been doing it for ages.
Yeah.
But yes, I love how they helped each other, but then it was so sad since he really just wanted to help her and she was like, I really did not want you to help me, even though she was panicking.
I know. I liked when Elspeth asked Raven, obviously the chalice card does not work on him. It's one of the cards that don't work on him anymore.
Yes.
When Elspeth asked, are you still pretending? And his answer was, I never was. I was like, oh, you're so sweet.
I know.
I love it.
Yes, because I really feel like he was pretty honest on all of these. I really didn't feel like he was lying. So I liked how he went about it because he could have fucking lied his little ass off if he wanted, but it didn't feel like that's what he was doing. Mind you, she wanted to. Oh my God. Reading her part with her just like really trying not to answer. Man, I could feel
she didn't even
pain.
try to get like creative with her answers, and that was kind of annoying as shit to me. I was like,
I thought she was going to be smarter than that. I thought she was going to know how to like play off the word.
The panic like her anxiety took over. There was full on panic mode because even the nightmare was trying to be like, hey, just be smart about it. Like, I can't help you, but I'll try to help you best I can.
The truth comes
but
out.
Like she just couldn't. She absolutely panicked. Which, I mean, I only really came at her with a hard hitter right from the beginning, which
that
felt
was
a little mean, but maybe she was also trying to
push them
Elspeth
ahead.
to admit that to herself. I don't know, but I was just like, ooh, I mean, when you're cold-hearted, I don't know that you would think about that so much. Like, you'd be like, I just want to know if you actually like this guy.
Well, no, she didn't even ask specifically if you love Raven.
True. She just said, are you in? Yeah, but
are you in love?
Who else?
She could have. It could have been like a simple, like in her brain, am I in love with so
I
and
love
so?
you.
Yeah, like it could. Like really, she probably gave her an easy question if you think about it. But she was already so panicky because she knows that this truth serum is gonna get her in so much trouble. But like Hoth, the excitement that he had that it was his turn, he's like, finally, now I get who I want to answer these real questions from.
I thought he was gonna come at Elm and Jesper a lot harder. I thought he was gonna be asking them because he seemed suspicious of them. So I thought everyone was gonna get gnarly questions. Like,
but I think
arm was broken.
Because they'd all played this before, aside from her. So I feel like they've had some time to get creative with their answers before, where Elspeth has never done this before. And so, again, it showed in her panic. I think he knew he could probably actually catch her off guard and get an answer that would really prove across the board what was going on. Correct, without having to question them, because I think they would have been able to skate by it a little differently.
Man,
because they had again done it a few times.
I know, because he said, I suspected this whole time after you showed up with your arm. Like, don't think that I didn't realize that.
I know, which they all were like, nah, he's dumb. You won't even realize. Guys, I think you're not giving
literally
him quite
the
enough
next
credit.
Day. Like,
I know, I was like, y'all dumb if you think he's
but
that
it was
naive.
weird.
Like,
I only tried covering for her. She's like, oh, we tried to go riding and she fell off her horse. That came out of nowhere. Like,
oh yeah, she was ready.
That was
Ione's very smart.
But I mean, twice she did that. She did it in the truth game, and then she did it when at the U house, because that's where they go practice their whatever, their destriering over there. whenever they're not at the castle. But twice Ione covered for her, even though she's a cold, heartless bitch right now, a beautiful one. But even though
no, she still cares for Elspeth.
she's still looking out for her.
It is very obvious. Yeah. But there are just moments where you're like, God damn, okay, ouch.
But but this is when Raven decides to help her without her consent, and he's like, "Let me help you." And then I just hear the nightmare, "Get out!" I don't hear it. It's like a gentle like,
oh
no.
It was a panicked. Yeah, no, I felt that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not just her, but both of them, because Nightmare knew that.
Yeah, because he also said it.
That's the part.
Which that one sounded scarier in my head. Hers was like panicked. His was like, I'll murder you if you don't get out of her head.
Get out.
Like it was
get
intense.
the fuck out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. I pictured that being.
I know. So then she starts to.
Because didn't he fall off his chair?
Yeah,
or something?
He did.
Yeah, like he fell back.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's probably startled the shit out of.
I mean, understandably.
To like have a monstrous
but
voice.
also it's funny in my brain.
God, yes. So she passes out. She's really sick, and then I want to call him Philic. Is that right?
I think it's
okay. Philic goes and like
Sure.
tries to help her heal from the poison that she got from the chalice or whatever. And I really do like when the man holds vigil over the love of his life whenever they're sick in bed and they haven't gone anywhere, and
they're like passed out in a
you can
chair.
tell that they've neglected their self-care, you know.
You like that they care so little for their own well-being in that moment.
I do, because I feel like most cases women are the one who people see as like the nurturing one who just gives up much of themselves whenever their kids are sick, their family is sick, their loved, like whatever. We give up a lot for the people that we love. So to me, whenever I see or read that a man does this, it's very endearing to me, and I love it.
Yeah, I get that.
But it was interesting when Raven was talking to Elm about what he witnessed in Elspeth's brain and how he heard another voice and trying to describe what that was.
I was a little surprised he told him.
I was too.
Because I was kind of like,
he was pretty forthcoming with all of that.
She didn't want to tell you this, and you essentially kind of pried it out of her, and then you're just verbatim, like just saying it out loud for Elm to know when you know that this is her biggest secret, and she didn't want to like tell. I don't know. I was kind of like, why are you telling him?
I just think that shows how close those two are, though. Also,
they just think
because let's face it, you guys, we would also be telling each other things that.
Oh, 100%. And that's what I think it goes to show is just
maybe not in front of the people we're doing.
Correct.
Okay. Mind you, they thought she was sleeping still. It's not like again, ballsy move. I would not. At least go to a different room, y'all. But
or use the nightmare card and do it there.
Yeah, in your brains. Come on.
In your brains.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that would be just such a handy little card to have. But so I think doing it in front of her was a little tacky, but I got why he told. It just seemed they were so close. I felt like the whole time, and they told each other everything. And again, he's been using this nightmare card on him for like. I just feel like they have such a close relationship that he didn't even think not to tell him. Like it wasn't like even a thought.
Yeah,
I know. And then so she has tears rolling down her eyes, pretending while she's, narcoleptic and stuff, just sleeping.
These bitches always faking sleep.
Bitches, we know when you're awake. We see your eyeballs moving. Anyway, so then Elm leaves because they need to talk, and finally she gives Raven permission to use a nightmare card on her, and she's like, be nice to him, please. Nightmare, be kind. Like,
I know.
And he is.
He is. He really.
He's gentle. I feel like he's pretty gentle with him.
Yeah.
Because
And he gives him answers that it took him a very long time to even give Elspeth. So, like, he kind of tells him right away as soon as he tells her.
Well, and he also gave them a lot of privacy as they were getting to know each other. He was always
in the back.
the quietest, she said, when they were together. So it doesn't seem like the nightmare is against him in any way, shape, or form. If anything, I think
No.
he likes him.
He was pushing her to tell him the entire time. He was like,
correct.
You're really going to do this to him?
Mhm.
Like, you're really going to leave him hanging?
I'm very curious what the relationship's going to look like in this next book, because it does seem like he genuinely likes him regardless of the
Yeah.
relationship even
Yeah.
Elspeth had with
Yeah.
him. So
I'm curious
interesting.
how far removed, if they are even related. Do you think the Shepherd King and the Used could be related?
I think he's either a you or an alder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I definitely think they could be related somehow.
Okay.
But I mean,
500
several
Obviously.
down, but like, yeah, I was gonna say not closely related, but yeah, I could see them being like of the same bloodline.
Yeah, because they did say that none of his, because he had children. I want to say he had children. Also, none of
They
them
just
made
say
it.
children. They don't say that they're his.
Because they said children
Just
were
that he has
running
a lot
from
of
the
children with
castle.
him.
Yeah.
They do say that they slayed his entire family, though,
I
and everyone in the castle.
So those children that were running with him, do you think they were also infected children? And then that's who
Yeah.
they were burning in the castle. And that's when they ran into the wood. Because we learned that in the mist, infected do not get consumed by them.
They're not. Yeah.
Correct.
And so
Yep.
what happened? Did these kids just live in the mist and they grow up and have families in the mist? Is there like a whole community in this mist?
The children of the wood.
Ooh, see,
They
creepy. Ooh, I got
They go
goosebumps.
into Game of Thrones and they become the children of the wood. Right? Wait, what are they called? The children of the forest?
I don't know.
Children of
It's
the forest.
creepy.
I
think
can't
that's what it
remember,
is in
but
Game of
yeah, it was
Thrones.
something like that.
Yeah.
But when Raven goes into Elspeth's mind to talk to the nightmare, he asks him, "Why are you growing stronger?" And basically, the nightmare says, When Rowan stole my life, my soul remained sealed in the nightmare card. I waited hundreds of years, consumed by fury and salt. Elspeth pulled me from the card, the darkness, so I protected her from a world that would see her killed. I spoke to her from the old book. She was already good, clever, but I taught her to be wary. I gave her my gifts, my strength, but nothing comes free, especially not magic. I feel like everything that the nightmare says is so important to whatever's going to happen in the next book. And so I just feel like I'm looking at everything he says. I'm trying to like
With the
decipher
magnifying
everything.
glass, you're like, what
Yes, like did this
exactly
part
are we?
happen already? Like why?
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
consumed, but he's angry and magic.
Well,
Yep.
yeah, because he was even in that last little part where he ends up taking over. He's like, "Are you sure? I will be."
This
like,
is it.
Yep.
he knew this was the point of no
And
return. And she very clearly gave permission, which again, I do. I love consent, y'all. I think it's just 10 out of 10. But I just loved how he was like, this is it. This is the line. We're gonna cross it. And she like made her peace with it in that moment. I mean, she was sad, but made
it was her
peace with it and
choice
was
then,
like,
right?
yep,
How she was gonna go.
it was her choice.
Yep.
And so I know, I just
because at that point she was saving Raven and Jesper.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
because they were
Elms,
coming.
like,
well, and so before all that, or after, I guess Raven's done talking to Nightmare. He gets pulled away to talk to the king about some destrier duties. And then her dad comes in. Her dad comes into the room and he gives her the well card. Just, here you go.
I know.
I love that.
How that all like.
I loved that
thought it was
too.
very sweet.
I admit.
Because it was
his mom's card. Or
it
the
was
mom's card.
Her mom's card. That he gifted that as the dowry or something. Yeah,
she gave it to him. I know the mom gave it to him. She's like, what do I need it for? Like, men are the one who need to find out who their enemies are, but I don't need it, so here. And I'm curious if he ever used it or not.
I know.
But he's like, here. But before he said here, he was like, how's Raven? How's he treating you? And she's like, I like him. And then he's like, well, you don't have to give it to him. Do whatever you want with it. But I really wanted to give this to you. And I can just imagine him being like, not even sheepish is not the word I'm looking for, but like unsure and uncomfortable, but trying to.
Because they haven't had the best relationship
it makes me sad.
in the last 11 years. But he does clearly care for her. This is a brief moment we actually get to see it. Yeah, I know.
I like
that was
that
very,
part a lot.
very sweet. But yeah, now they've got to find this twin alders card, and now I feel like it's going to be a piece of cake, and I wasn't ready.
It's not going to be that easy. Yes, it'll be so easy. It'll be so easy when they actually go to that part. But all the other parts in between, I'm sure there's going to be. I don't even know how long this next book is, but I'm sure there's going to be other things.
I think it's of similar length. I don't think it's like dramatically longer or shorter or anything. Because how long was this one? That's what it wasn't a bad
400 pages.
419.
Yeah.
481.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're very similar. A little longer.
It's a little longer.
Let's just add that to my library right now.
So Daddy Spindle leaves, and I think like she goes and finds Raven and tells him that her dad gave her the card, and then he sends Philip up to go check on her, and then he really just takes the card to make it look like inconspicuous. Anyway, then after Philip leaves, I think like maybe 5-10 minutes after, then Prince Hoth comes into the room. But it's the uncle who let him in there.
No, the uncle tells her, your aunt is upstairs and she's looking for you. She's up in your room. And he takes her up there and he completely betrays her to the king.
And I don't even think it was with the scythe card. I think he did it because she
very specifically says that it was not.
I hate him.
Yeah. Which is so sad because I feel like the aunt cares for her so deeply.
Much.
So that was pretty sad to see how little the uncle seemed to.
I think he only cares about power. In his place in
court.
And
I think he was spiteful of the fact that they essentially had to take care of her.
Yes, he was like, you were
like
my wife's problem. Like she wanted you. I didn't want you kind of situation. But I thought it was I could have sworn it was in this part where they're like, I thought she didn't have any powers. Like I thought she didn't have no magic. And then they're like, yeah, the uncle said she didn't because nobody else knew. And lo and behold,
now she just never showed any. They all thought that she got away scot-free from the fever and that she really wasn't actually she's infected, but that she had no magical powers.
Yeah.
I know. Oh, that was a great surprise though.
Man, she kicked their asses so hard, but she also killed that physician. The bad one.
Which, I mean,
the one with the claws.
The Wolverine.
Yeah, the Wolverine claws. That's what happened. It was gross. And then I think the prince almost died, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He did, and I think he might be paralyzed now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Because the king said...
That's so fucked up.
I got too excited.
But yes. Oh my god, yes! Paralyzed! Yay! She says. I can't.
Yeah, because the king says that he's never going to be the same. He's like, if my son survives, he's never going to be the same. They talked about how they found him and that his legs were not. Unfortunately, if his mind is still there and he has a scythe, he can still use that.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter if he's paralyzed.
I don't like him. Anyway, and then after this ambush and she kicks all their butts, but only after she gave herself up to the nightmare, and that was all very sad. Because even when Raven was like coming up the stairs, he's like, hey, just checking on you using his nightmare card. And he couldn't even hear her.
I know.
And he starts to panic, and he's coming up. He's trying to go all the 6 floors to go check on her. And then all this commotion is happening.
Well, she screamed. They heard the scream. Yeah. And then he was reaching out, with his nightmare card, and she wasn't answering.
Because she couldn't. She was saying
She
bye.
was saying bye. It was very sad.
Yeah, I was going to say that whole part, reading that, I feel like I was like, oh God, that's where I flew. I flew through that whole part. I was like, and I'm done. Oh, shit.
Yep.
Yeah. That went by like too fast for me. Because I was like,
Yes.
wait.
Yeah.
There's gotta be more. There's gotta be more.
I know.
But yeah, when she gave herself up and then she went to the dungeon and then the king came.
Well, yeah, because
I think we'll see more of him this next one also.
Oh, the king?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
But I like
For
that
sure.
she's like, I have something to offer you. And he's like, what? You have to let go of Emery. You can't do anything to him. He's like, why? He's the person that I'm supposed to do this with once I get the Twin Alder card. She's like, well, you don't need him if you got me. And then also I know where the Twin Alder card is. Dun, dun, dun!
Yeah, I'm
so
very
was the
curious to
Shepherd
see what we
King
start with.
infected? He gave pieces of himself to make the cards, but do you think he's infected?
I mean, he's in the body of someone who was. So
yeah,
like,
I know that, but I'm just.
I didn't think of
Do you
him
think that he
as
was
being
ever
infected.
infected?
I think he was like the original. I think he's the OG and he was not infected. He could not use magic on his own. He definitely had to give up parts of himself so that he could have card wielding magic that he wanted to share with his kingdom. So I don't think he was infected. I think that he just had to pay the price so that his people didn't have to go to the spirit of the wood to get help. He wanted his people to have help at their fingertips instead of bartering with a spirit.
I was gonna say, I think so much of it was just, I mean, Kayla and I kind of talked about it. It's always hard when you come from like a series where you know the world so innately and then start over in a different one. It's always, if you're not in the right frame of mind, it's hard. If you're in the right frame of mind for it, I feel like it's not bad, but it took me a little bit as far as like just understanding what the fuck was going on, because it was a lot of world building. But as soon as I got it, I was super into it. I thought it was really good.
Yeah,
the whole concept,
it's like a new
very
job.
unique, very cool.
Yeah, I think I told Brie, I was like, I'm a rereader. I'm a comfort reader, and so I was like, I think I'm rereading like too many books, because at this point, when I try to start a new one, my mind like rebels against it. It like doesn't understand what's happening for like longer than I would like to admit. And I struggle with that because, you know me, I want to know all the things. And so I have been struggling at the beginning of a lot of our new books.
I do get that.
But
yeah,
then I get into it and I'm like very into it.
Yeah, no, I get that, where it just, because there's so much to take in and there's so much information being thrown at you that it's hard to get into, because you're trying to like you're trying to piece this world together and all the characters and all of their different nuances and things, that it gets to be challenging sometimes, and it's fine.
Yeah, and it was such a unique magic system.
Yeah, I loved it.
It's not something we're used to, because a lot of them, yes, you're getting a whole new characters, whole new world building, but like concepts are similar. This one, I felt like I was like, I don't know what magic this is.
Yeah.
I don't know this world. I don't know nothing.
Yeah.
I am in fresh as all get out. Like,
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on.
It's just magic. It's not fey magic. It's not.
Yeah. And like
creatures.
anyone can have it, but
Yeah.
you turn it off and on and it's cards. Like, it was just a very different thing to wrap my head around. But yeah, once I did, I was like, oh, this is cool.
So cool.
Love this.
Yeah.
Not that hard.
I am very excited to read the next one.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very excited to read the next one, but I'm also like, I want to read other books, and then my problem is if I read the next book, then I can't read other books, because then I'll forget about what I read, and then I can't podcast on it. So I think I have to read a book in between.
That's okay. You can read a book in between.
Because I want to read other things too, because there's a lot of good books out there, and I'm just broken and I can't read things and remember them. I need to feel the things in the book and then move on.
That's okay.
See, and we just got to plan the next date so you know what you can read in between.
Have you?
And still have time to read this one.
Okay, on another note. Oh, someone. Okay, hold on. There's this thing. Let me look it up real fast. Sorry.
You're fine.
I don't think this is what it's called. Do you guys, when you read, do you have an inner reading voice?
That
Like, do I hear the words
Yes.
in
Do
my
you
brain?
just hear the words, or do you just see the words and then they just compute in your brain and then you just move on?
I have an inner reading voice.
I have an inner reading voice.
Yeah.
Like it's narrated in my brain and then that creates the picture for me. And then how I read it changes how the picture is viewed in my head.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because some people, I think, literally read words and it becomes pictures and they don't have a voice.
Okay. I was just curious.
But I have a voice.
Because then that's why I keep going over some of the words. I'm like, how the fuck do you say that? But it doesn't matter, right? Because it's not like I'm saying it out loud. Like the names of people, like Jesper and Jespri.
Yeah.
Like it didn't matter.
Yeah, I was gonna say it
but
wasn't
my
until
inner
we started...
mind, my inner voice has to know how to say it, or I will struggle way too hard.
Mine just gets creative. That's why it's not something I thought about until we started podcasting, because before I wouldn't even think twice about a fucking name. I would just fill in the blank, keep going. Now when I do it, I'm like,
gotta say it out loud.
How do we say that one? Yeah, like all of a sudden I'm like, well, shit, I don't know how I'm gonna actually say that one.
Well, and then because if you say it in your mind too long as a certain thing,
I know
you're gonna want to say it that way out loud, and then if it's wrong, that messes with me too. If I've been saying a name, like what was I calling Feyre?
Feyre?
I don't remember what I was calling her, but it was not Feyre to begin with.
Fairy.
Maybe
I think you said fairy.
Calling her
that we had,
but it was not Feyre.
Wait a second. Like
and
Kale and
like,
Cole.
Wait.
Kale.
Yes.
One of the podcasts. Cool. Yeah.
Like that's why I try not to get attached to probably wrong.
No, and like I said, usually
well, and that's why I'm always like, is it this or this?
Yeah.
Or this, or am I wildly off? I may be wildly off.
Stutter over the names in our last podcast. I was like, dude, can't say it. I can't.
Well, I mean, that's the fun part about fantasy authors. They can just fucking spell a name however they goddamn please and come up with that whatever pronunciation. Mind you, fuck, that's what parents are doing nowadays. But fantasy authors really get it on a different level. I'm like, how the fuck did you put those letters on a page and think that sounds like this?
Yeah.
I think it's part of their fun. I think it's part of the fun. Like, what's a weird name that I could make? I'm curious. 100%. How many authors really do just like, what kind of fucked up name can I come up with that people will like mess up and make a TikTok 100%. Out of it or something?
Well, and like, obviously, you don't want basic bitch names. Like,
you don't want Jane?
I'm not gonna read a book about Mary and Jane and freaking like that's not the names I'm expecting out of a fantasy book. Obviously, other books I don't give a shit, but fantasy book I'm expecting some unique sounding names. So I get why they do it, but also makes my life
just
hard.
spell it phonetically.
I just need them. Yes, that, and then I need them to just have nicknames so that I can be like, your full name is
Renelm, and now we just call you Elm.
Renelm, and you are Elm.
Yes, I agree. We just need more nicknames.
Yeah.
Agreed. Please, authors, consider nicknames for your characters. Your readers are struggling.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there anything else? I feel like we touched all the parts.
No.
Perfecto. Yeah. All right, you guys, that is it for today. We'll be releasing the next podcast 2 weeks from today, October 25th. We'll be discussing the second book of the Shepherd King duology, Two Twisted Crowns, written by Rachel Gillig. Also, if you like what you hear, then please share it with your friends. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and all major streaming platforms. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye, book besties.
Bye.
Bye.